So what's the secret to breaking 4? You break it as a sophomore in college. After you do it and looking back on it, could you have done it 2 years earlier? Do you think that you could have, how did you approach breaking 4?
I think the approach into it is definitely, like I was saying earlier, I was thinking about it months in advance, years in advance. But once you know you're fit enough for it, then you're like, okay, let's make sure I don't mess this up, because you only have so many opportunities every year. And sophomore year, we were ready for it. My freshman year didn't go so well, so in terms of with injuries and stuff like that. So sophomore year, I had a good summer training. I had an okay cross season. So I was like, right, we're fit, we're ready, here we go. We were gonna go up to Mayo Mile and try and hit that, and then we got stuck because of the snow. Huge snowstorm in Tulsa, and everybody was freaking out, and we didn't have class for weeks. But there was no way we were getting to South Bend, Indiana. So we went to Missouri Southern to just hit a 3K, just kind of, I think I paced the 3K and ran the 800 or something like that, just to work on my speed a little bit in the 8, and then we went to Arkansas for I think it was Tyson Invitational, and it was just me and my teammates and Silas Casorio and a couple other guys, but by no means a race pegged for very quick. If we were lucky, it was going to go 3:59, and my roommate and teammate Brian Tabb, who now lives up here in Boston, he paced us, and we were too quick, and everybody was like, "Oh no, it's too quick," but it was perfect. Silas ended up taking on from when Brian dropped out, and it was perfect, and Silas and I went neck and neck the whole kind of last 2 laps, and we both ran 3:56. So the first kind of, we hadn't prepared to run, I think it was the second fastest time in the NCAA that year, and at that time I'm not sure if anybody ran faster, and we were like, oh, okay, like if I mean, the plan was, if we run quick enough, we'll potentially make nationals, and we'll go to nationals and see what we can do, try and make the final, and then I ran 3:56, and it was like, okay, well, we gotta reassess the goal, and I showed up to nationals at Texas A&M in College Station, and I didn't know who anybody was. I was like, kind of I'm not really much of a track fanboy, so I kind of actually, I think it was Ryan interviewed me for FloTrack, and he was like, "What did you think of the heats?" And I'm standing there thinking, I had no idea who these guys were. And then anyway, Miles beat me by a couple tenths of a second in the final the next day, and I was like hugely disappointed. But 3 months earlier, I would have never assumed that I would have been second in the nation in place and in time. And it was kind of one of those things that the preparation, it had been such a long build up to just breaking 4, and all of that just got thrown out the window because I broke it by more than we thought I was going to break it by. And so we didn't really know what I was capable of, so the preparation for nationals and whatnot was somewhat up in the air. And I was just doing what I was told. But yeah, I mean, it's always something that people want to see done, to break 4 minutes, and if you break it, if it's 3:59.9, it's still a sub-4 mile. And so from the get-go, that was the plan, just to basically run 3:59.9. But I think it's always best to be over prepared. And so it definitely paid off to be that we were fit enough to, in effect, go 3:56.
So you're like, I want to run 3:59.9, but then in reality, you just become second in the NCAA as a sophomore. So
yeah,
yeah, it works out.
It works out. It worked out in the end.